Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interesting day on planet Earth. Have you ever wondered why some days you feel so full of energy and other days you don't? I've had a couple of those days this week. There was one day I was trying to create our newsletter and I just couldn't get any inspiration. I found everything else to do, but not what my focus should have been. And yet this morning I woke up and I was full of so much creative energy. And, I'm creating our vision board or vision quest that we're having this Sunday afternoon. So there's lots of, creating games and the flow of how things were. I felt like I was just as if I was tapping into the unique energy of the universe that we all can tap into. And one of those things that we can tap into is our intuition, which really is the gateway to our heart. And what the issue with most people is, they, especially when they come to, for instance, GRIGORI GRABOVOI'S teachings, Grabovoi teaches in a way that it's very scientific, very masculine, so that you understand the structures and the technologies of how our reality is created. And then what happens with people, they take that and then they apply it into their life in a very logical, sequential way, and then sort of come to the point that it's like, oh, why is it taking so long? Or I'm feeling something, but it hasn't quite manifested yet. There's lots of always left brain questions where you're trying to understand something that really needs to be understood from your heart and your unifying of your left and right hemisphere of your brain. So trying to understand information, and it's not just Grabovoi, trying to understand everything with just directions from your left brain or instructions from an outer source is never where we're going to really head in this game of life. Our life is created in front of us by our soul so that we get an indication of how things are in our inner world. So, talking about how our emotions and how our belief systems and programs that have been put there, and how am I with my congruency, with my path of being a soul having a physical experience instead of the other way around, like this physical body has having a spiritual experience. Now, some people just focus on the physical. And the thing is, our physical body is the vessel for our soul. So, soul created the physical body. So, if you look in the mirror at the moment and have a look at your body and you think, there are things wrong with my body, understand that you are not in congruence when you're with your soul. Now, I went to the gym this morning and I was watching everybody from the sauna as I went in there, and there were many people where I was who were with crutches, who were limping, who were hunched over. And we would just say, oh, they're getting old, or yeah, well, that's life. We get a pain or something breaks down. And of course, our body won't respond as it used to. Well, that sort of thinking comes from outer world programming. And outer world programming of, oh, well, it's normal to get old and it's normal to die. And that's not true. In fact, every ancient teaching says the reverse. And in fact, we can live for thousands of years. And I know people go, oh, why would you want to live for thousands of years? Because they have a very limited understanding and they think, I would hate to be in my body for thousands of years getting older and more decrepit. And that's not what it is, because you can't live in a body that is withering away. It's, for instance, like if you ever watched a plum that wasn't filled with lots of juiciness and it starts to lose its moisture, it starts to wrinkle up. And that's what happens along in our body. We don't understand how it works. We don't nurture with it. We don't listen to the energy of our body, what our mind is thinking. We sort of put things in little pigeonholes and say, this is my body, this is my spirituality, this is my thinking, this is my consciousness. And they don't see that everything works together in an intrinsic way of bringing harmony of creation into our understanding. So often when something goes wrong, people will all of a sudden become very, very spiritual, and they'll be praying to God, dear God, help me through this ordeal, help me sort this out, forgetting that we are actually aspects of the divine creator. In fact, I don't even like to use the word God, because there's so many misconstrued ideas of what God is, because which God? Every religion has their own God. But I like to think it as the grand organizing designer, because there is absolutely something grand that is orchestrating this multiverse. Organizing, because if you look into nature, if you look into ourselves, there is a divine order that is creating this world. And orchestrator, because it's orchestrating things to always be built in the harmony of creation, and nature is always a good example of that. But how do we take that for us? Where do we see us like we see nature in perfect harmony? Well, we don't. We give ourselves a hard time. So our body is the vehicle to give us the feedback of how we're going on our spiritual journey. But also we have our thinking and our emotions are what we keep trapped in ourselves. And then we make judgments on our perception based on our past beliefs, we've been conditioned to believe, and our life experiences. And often when we're pointing a finger at somebody else, we forget that we're three fingers back at us. And in fact, often that person that's giving you the hardest time out there is actually a mirror of an unloved part of yourself that you have disengaged from. And so often, especially in relationships, people point to the other person and say it's their fault. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. I always did this, I did that. And there's an absolute lopsided perception of what life is trying to show you. Now, there are many different people who can train in different aspects. And I'm sure your journey has already been understanding how your body functions, understanding a little bit about an emotional journey. And certainly if you come here and you're on GRIGORI GRABOVOI'S journey of understanding how reality is created, then there's a bridging that has to happen between the logical understanding and then the intuitive and the creative aspects that really lock together, because both are needed when we start to apply the technologies. There's the logical understanding of the knowledge that Grabovoi is teaching, but then when we apply it, it requires not just our consciousness, but our ability to be able to create, to be able to see it in our mind's eye or see it in a vision if you're clairvoyant, and be able to step into that frequency of that vision as if it's already in the here and now, because there is no past and there is no future. There is only now. And the light of the infinite past and future always flow back into the now. And that's why I say anything that is unresolved in your life, especially from the that has happened, whether it's happened 5 minutes or 10 years ago, that light of that event flows into the now, and also then starts to send the light into the future and back into the future. Light comes back to now. So that light can be very bright because you're super connected, or it could be very dim because you've had a lot of challenges and you're really disengaged from you. And so you only see life as challenge. So the light is very dim that's coming back. And then what happens is then that's projected in the outer world and you start seeing it played out in people and situations. Now, currently in the world, we're going through this year, especially a lot of revealing, and that's going to speed up. And we're in that year because many planets have shifted into Aquarius, and we know we're in the age of Aquarius. But in the next couple of days in Chinese astrology, we actually step into the year of the green wood dragon. And so just imagine a dragon. A dragon is very fiery. And so a lot is going to be fired up. And I'm not really here to talk about Chinese astrology. You can go and research what this year is about. But this year has a different feel for a lot of people. And many people feel like there's something is igniting, like a fire is igniting within them. And they're moving through this year with a lot more confidence and an inner knowing that things are lightening up. Even though the outer world doesn't look like that, and certainly the media won't project that at all. But what's happening is in the inner world, you feel like there's something light about this year, and there's something more positive about this year. And it's more because we're starting to get in a more in alignment. And so if we look at what the sun's been doing over the last week, where there's been some massive solar storms, what's actually happening is from the great central sun, we're actually getting more light that's activating our dormant DNA, the junk DNA that the scientists say we have, and it's starting to bring on our 12 strands of DNA. And that's basically what is the shift from a 3D reality into a 4 and 5D reality. And I know I'm simplifying it a lot in this moment because there's all sorts of different aspects. But if you understand that we're on this journey, and the more we can get into alignment with the frequency of harmony, and we do that when we use number sequences, because you can't distort a number sequence, and Grabovoi has so many number sequences. Your consciousness can't distort it. It can't make a judgment on it, because that number sequence is like the music of creation, of harmony. So that's why people use and love number sequences. But what we're here is also to develop your consciousness, and that's where we play. So obviously I play in the seminars and webinars and in our New Earth Academy of Eternity, where we certainly stretch your consciousness, thrown in with some Grabovoi stuff, which helps to develop it. And it's a beautiful marriage between the masculine side of us, the feminine side of us, the cognitive side of us, and the creative side of us. And there's a beautiful marriage together to create harmony and to be more awake, as I say in one of my Facebook groups, as a conscious avatar, not the fake ones that Meta have you have, but a real person who is making a shift and change just by the way that your frequency is oscillating in this very moment. So we're shifting our frequency, the universe is shifting its frequency, the earth is shifting its frequency, and we're all evolving in this beautiful game of life. So I hope this message was for you and you could take something out of that. As always, you can always jump on our website and discover some of the things that we're up to. Learn or contact me if you want to. I'll put the details below. But have a wonderful day, everyone. And tomorrow is the new moon, so it'll be a perfect time to start creating some of the focus that you would like to take into 2024. Have an awesome day.